Hey there, it's Andrew Biss here. How you doing? Good to see you all. I just wanted to make a video post July 1st, carbon tax in Australia. So yeah, carbon tax is here. A couple of days after July 1st, I got a nice little letter from AGL, my energy provider. It's basically saying that as part of our review of energy prices in Victoria, we're wanting to advise you that the rates you pay for gas and electricity will increase from July 10, 2012. So blah blah blah. So the government was claiming that the three major corporate backers were supporting them, and that was a victory and a snub to the anti-tax carbon tax people. AGL was one of those companies, also GE and Westpac Bank of Australia. So you know, as Gerald Celente says, the combining of corporate and state powers is fascism. Yeah, this carbon tax can't be opposed by businesses, otherwise they'll get the $1.1 million fine. Yeah, just nuts. I mean, Australia, I mean, we're being sold out and squeezed. Also a letter from the local federal member saying, "Dear Andrew," talking about interest rates. So the Gillard government has worked hard to bring the budget back to surplus because we believe this gives the Reserve Bank of Australia the maximum possible flexibility to cut interest rates. So blah blah blah. We're going to create low interest rates in Australia. So you know, newsflash: we need higher interest rates so people can save money and get a return on it. As you probably know, we need capital. This is kind of capitalism without reasonable, fair and market interest rates. So Australians generally have a this is a real hip pocket and this hits a real hip pocket nerve for them, the mention of interest rates, and they sort of semi-believe that the government has some sway on them, but interest rates are too low, and it's hurting people who are saving. So that's why you should buy gold, buy silver, yeah. So it's just robbing people, pensioners, of the returns they should be getting on their savings. So hence people, either the smart ones, buy gold, or the other people, they speculate in stocks and other risky investments to make up the revenue shortfall from what they would have had if interest rates were at a market level or reasonable level. So people are getting nothing for their money. Also, there was an incredible article from this gentleman in the Age, Ross Gittins. He writes this article saying that property prices have stagnated and they're not going any lower. So he's trying to put a floor. No, sorry. Yeah, they're not heading any lower, not heading any higher. He actually says in the article, have a look through it, that for years he's been saying at dinner parties that house prices couldn't go on going up high forever, and looks like I've been right. So Mr. Gittins, you should have been not talking about this at dinner parties. You should be writing about it. So he's got no articles previously to even cite that he even thought this, but he's saying this. He has this amorphous idea that he was saying this at dinner parties. It's like, So his and other financial media's job is to keep pushing people to buy overpriced houses, by superannuation. If you have any ideas, you should write them. Actually, not say that you thought these things and you said them at dinner parties. He says that, so he's putting a ceiling and a floor on how house prices will go. So and he also puts in these towards the end of the article. You've got to read it. It's hilarious. He says that also what does he say? House prices will not go any lower as long as parents are willing to subsidize their children's first home purchase. So as long as parents are willing to do that, as they should, house prices won't drop any lower. So he's basically saying that if house prices fall, it's your fault. It's not his fault. It's not anything wrong with the forecasting. It's not got to do with unemployment or cost of capital, interest rates, and the level of debt. It's got nothing to do with that. It's got to do with your crazed psychology of not subsidizing your children's first home prices. So if we get it wrong, it's not our models, it's your fault, Australia. You weren't willing to get into more debt and help your children along with their house purchase. It's this kind of crazy, did you call it doublethink? It's not my fault, it's you. You're the problem. You created this mess, and because you weren't willing to keep going on and getting into more debt, house prices will crash if you don't do this. So they're sort of dissolving themselves of any responsibility for the coming house price crash, which they must know that is coming. It has come and is ongoing. And last but certainly not least, it's incredible Green/Australian government hypocrisy regarding the carbon tax, because we have the carbon tax, but we also subsidize fossil fuel emitters like the mining industry. We need mining industry, but we don't need to subsidize them, and it's predominantly foreign owned, 83% foreign owned. But also today the Minister for Sustainability and Environment, Population, he's got many other titles. I believe his name's Tony Burke. He has restricted local fishermen from fishing in Australian waters, but he's allowed a foreign trawling company to basically trawl and tear up the fishing areas of Australia. So it's just this government they don't care about the environment. Okay, they don't give a rat's about the environment. They just it's a green mask to get Australians off the land, out of the water, and let corporations rule the roost, especially foreign corporations. It's just incredible cronyism. Some of my friends, one of my friends who's a greenie, does work with chasing whales, which is I think it's a good idea. We need to save whales, but he believes in global warming and we should have a carbon tax. But he's put a link on his Facebook about this is terrible. Well, yeah, it is terrible. It's your government who doesn't care about the environment, but they're happy to tax you for carbon, which is not really a real problem at all. And you got to wake up and smell the roses, because we are being torn asunder and being sold out to the highest bidder. This is not it's not a game anymore. It's just mad, absolutely mad. So I hope you're unhappy with this situation as well. I don't know all the details behind it, but it's just completely outrageous. I'm going to get some more information on it myself. But it's just completely typical of this corporate-owned government. Yeah, just crazy. Okay, enough from me. As Andrew Biss out.